All the mantras that this team has lived by all year are now coming to life for one last game. Leave no doubt, the foundation being built, Ryan Day pulling out all the stops for this national championship test against Notre Dame on Monday night. This is the last time we will talk to him before we get down to Atlanta for the weekend's festivities. That's Tim May, the 41-year vet. I'm just Spencer Holbrook. Let's talk about it, Tim. We just heard from Ryan Day and a few select Buckeyes players. A locked and loaded, locked in Ryan Day, as ready as you'll see him. As ready as you'll see a man for a national championship game. This team is pretty focused. The Cotton Bowl fully behind them. They're not talking about anything. They're not even talking about the future and what a national championship could mean.
Of course not.
This team is focused on beating Notre Dame, and if they beat Notre Dame, then they can talk about a national championship.
Yeah, that's like talking about what you're going to do with those lottery winnings before you win the lottery. I mean,
Correct.
You know what I mean? You got to win the lottery first. I mean, of course, you have more of a say in it when you're playing a football game. But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of game faces on already to a certain extent, I think, in this group, the guys we got to talk to. I think there's a sense of confidence, but they know they haven't done it yet. I mean, just like when we were talking to Will Howard, this time a year ago, I asked him about, his thoughts coming in to this building for the first time, and they were, get to this point. Mm-hmm. But the real true thought was, get to the next point, win the national championship, and go to the National Football League, were his thoughts. I mean, prove yourself from the standpoint as a passer in the NFL scout's eyes, and go out and win yourself a natty. And now they're one step away from that, and you just get the sense the focus is right where it ought to be. And it may sound mamby-pamby, but you really get that. I mean, Ryan Day said back in July at the Big Ten meetings, he used that phrase that I took out of the air when he threw it out there, and I thought it was so telling, the leave no doubt aspect of approaching this season. And there was a cloud of doubt coming out of the regular season. Now this team is favored heavily to win the national championship and leave no doubt, but they still got to go out and do it.
Yeah, the only times that he's really used leave no doubt in games has been negative. He said we wanted to leave no doubt against Oregon. We didn't do it. He said in that makeshift tent out in Eugene. Yep. After the Michigan game, he said we're supposed to leave no doubt. That shouldn't have come down to field goals. It shouldn't have come down to other things like that.
Yep.
And it did, and so they left a lot of doubt. The season they left doubt that they were ready to go into the college football playoff, and he acknowledged that. It's all been negative.
Yep.
And except for like the Indiana game where he said, we wanted to leave no doubt. We scored that last touchdown. We wanted to leave no doubt. We beat the brakes off of Oregon. He didn't say it like that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Finally, they're at a point where they can leave no doubt, not in an individual game, which if they beat Notre Dame, they will have done, but for the entire season. Like, this was supposed to be the best team in the country. And if they win this game on Monday night, that will officially be the leave no doubt marker on this entire season.
Right.
That this was, no doubt, the national champion, the best team in the country, as some people would say, the best roster money could buy. Whatever you want to say about it, like, it comes down to Monday night. And the Cotton Bowl doesn't matter if they don't win Monday night. The Rose Bowl doesn't matter if they don't win Monday night.
Correct.
That's the message here, is like, leave no doubt is coming to life.
Yeah.
In the biggest form, and the only form that truly matters this season.
And the point is, leave no doubt means concentration. It means not having stupid penalties. It means finishing drives. Mm-hmm. They did a great job of that, against Tennessee.
Correct.
And Oregon. Didn't do so great a job about that throughout for an entire game against Texas. There was some doubt in that game. There was a goal line stand, that had to be made when Texas was about to tie it up late in the game. And of course, Jack Sawyer has his play. It was a goal line stand, and then Jack Sawyer caps it with a leave no doubt return for a touchdown.
Yeah. And
now they're headed to the promised land, which is Atlanta.
That's what we've always called Atlanta, the promised land.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to go a different direction there from the standpoint of growing up an Alabama fan. Georgia Tech and Alabama were big rivals way back in the early 60s, right on down the line. It's really fitting that the final leave no doubt is where 3 years ago they had a shot at going to the national championship game. And you can say it all came down to one field goal. Well, it did come down to the field goal. If they'd made the field goal, the 50-yard field goal, they would have played TCU and probably won a national championship. But the collapse in the fourth quarter is what you remember.
There was some doubt there.
Of course there was doubt. They didn't win the game.
Correct.
They got beat 52-51 by
42-41.
What?
42-41.
Seemed like 52. 42-41 by Georgia, and they've been striving, for 3 years now to get back to that position. Just like this whole this whole tour is a redemption tour for this football program and this particular football team, and now they have another shot in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. It's really ironic how things have worked out.
Well, I think the leave no doubt mantra, Tim, has carried through Ryan Day's entire career so far at Ohio State. Think to 2019, they go undefeated in the entire regular season. There seemed to be no doubt. They get to the Clemson game and they're kicking field goals, and they allowed Clemson to remain in that game, and they left some doubt there, and they lose.
Well, the refs left some doubt in that game also.
Okay, yeah, sure. In 2020,
absolutely.
I know that, but I'm getting to my point here. In 2020, they left some doubt by getting their butts kicked in the national championship game by an Alabama team that was really, really, really freaking good. One of the best teams we've seen in the last 10 years in college football. 21, they left out by losing to Michigan. And then, they didn't get into the playoff. They go to the Rose Bowl, but it felt like a consolation prize. There was some doubt there as to who the standard bearer in the Big Ten was. 22, the Georgia game, they're leaving doubt there. 23, they come up so short against Michigan. The Cotton Bowl doesn't matter. This year is finally the chance where they can leave no doubt on the biggest stage. And yes, they didn't beat Oregon the first time, but they did the second time. Yes, they still haven't beaten Michigan. That's a conversation for November. But on a national scale, this is the opportunity for Ryan Day to finally, in his career, and again, I went through every single year of his career now, leave no doubt that his team is on top of college football.
Yeah.
But
this is the first year he's actually said leave no doubt. That is the mantra.
Yeah, I know.
Or mantra.
And I think that's the thing is and credit to Stephen Means at Cleveland.com who asked the question, you say leave no doubt in the micro with each game, leave no doubt with each individual game. But season-wide, that can bear itself out on Monday night. And I think that...
Agreed.
And, the other message that he struck in here on Wednesday, as we were talking to Ryan Day, was the foundation. And there's over 100 bricks now in that quite literal foundation that he's had his team build after practices, and stacking days and stacking bricks. And he said the foundation doesn't matter if you don't actually do it, if you don't actually build on it. And now Monday night is the chance not only to leave no doubt, but to build on the foundation that they built over 100 practices, and finally put a trophy in the trophy case.
But he also actually, reiterated, like he's done many times, you can have bromides, you can have sayings, everything else. You've got a chance to go out there and make your own legacy, make history, but you got to go out and play play by play, as Caleb Downs keeps emphasizing. It's in a game like this, just like in the game against Texas, there's a good chance this is not going to be a pretty game. You never know until you play it, but there's a good chance it's not going to be pretty. You just go out there and score more points than they do in any form or fashion. You can do it. That's the motto, really, that Notre Dame is living by. They're scoring points in all kinds of different ways, just getting by. But getting by is all that matters.
Yeah, well,
it ought to be getting by should be the mantra. Just get by one more time and you're a national champion.
Well, and Ryan Day was asked about, the difficulties of facing a Notre Dame team that just seems to find a way to get things done. And that's when he launched into his diatribe, which, and he has a reason to, about efficiency, because this Notre Dame team is ultra efficient. You've got to be efficient. You can't turn the ball over against this team because they make you pay. They get the tough yards. They're physical. They're hard-nosed. They're lunch pack. Whatever, all those cliches that you can use about a team being good enough to win games, throw them at Notre Dame, because it's what this Notre Dame team is. It's a really good football team, and they understand that. So efficiency, execution, all of those buzzwords that you normally hear and kind of dismiss, that's the name of the freaking game at the national championship.
Of course it is. That's why you always hear them.
It's not one of these games that's expected to be a shootout some of that Ohio State Georgia game a couple years ago. It's not one of those games that's expected to be high scoring. It's a matter of efficiency and execution. And if Ohio State does that an inch better than Notre Dame, Ohio State's going to win the national championship and put a new banner in here. And if they don't, then the leave no doubt will creep back in, and they'll give Notre Dame a chance to win this game. And
True.
I think that's the message here is if you go out and execute and you're efficient, you're going to win a national championship. And if you don't, you're probably not.
Yeah. And the other thing is, just like the Michigan game, don't give them an avenue. Don't give them hope. Don't let it come down to the fourth quarter. Right on down the line, all those little cliches and bromides matter. And so he does. You can feel it. Ryan Day wants his team to put a stamp on this season and on their careers, and they've got a hell of a shot.
Anything else?
They're favored by almost double figures.
We talked to a few players. We talked to quite a few. Well, we're going to talk to all of the players on Saturday, quite literally the entire roster. Was there maybe one nugget or something from one of these guys that you kind of take out of today and think, or thinking, oh, that's interesting about this upcoming national championship?
Well, I'm gonna write a little piece right when we're done about Carnell Tate and the game he had against Texas. It's not so much the game he had; it's what now Notre Dame has to deal with. Anybody knows this. We've talked about it all year long. But their depth at wide receiver, about putting 3 game breakers out there on the field almost every play. Ohio State. Who are you going to take away? If you take away this guy, you've got this guy, Mecca Egbuka, and you've got Carnell Tate, and maybe even Brandon Ennis coming off the bench. Bottom line is that's so huge in this game to have, in essence, options to use, not the least of which are Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, both of whom scored touchdowns against Texas. Your two stud star running backs figured out a way to get into the end zone, each of them, just like they have the last several games. So that's really the puzzle that Notre Dame's going to have to be dealing with on a play-by-play basis.
Yeah, I talked to my one little thing here is I talked to Will Kazmarek, an Ohio transfer who, quite frankly, was never going to sniff the college football playoff, let alone a national championship game. And as hard of a pill as that is for me to swallow as a Bobcats fan, a guy like him now being
didn't you know that going there?
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
A guy like him being in position to potentially win a national championship, and he said, I can't focus on that right now. Yeah,
right.
You let yourself dream a little bit about it, but you can't let yourself focus on that because you just have to prepare for Notre Dame. And if they prepare for Notre Dame the way they prepare for Tennessee and Oregon and Texas, everything will take care of itself, and then they can talk about being a national champion, not the prospect of being a national champion. And I know that it means this, it's the same thing for all these guys, including Ryan Day. But I just thought it was interesting to get his perspective as a guy who came up from a no-star, quite literally a no-star recruit with one D1 offer.
Yeah.
Went to Ohio, paid his dues, played there, and now has a chance to win a national championship. And even he has the message from this coaching staff and stuff, which means that it's getting through to everybody.
Yeah.
Like if the no-star guy that played at Ohio and is now here can focus on Notre Dame and not worry about the potential of being a national champion, you know that this team is ready for Notre Dame. They're not ready for the national championship game. They're ready for Notre Dame.
Just like we got to talk to Josh Fryer. Notre Dame literally was not interested in Josh Fryer from Indiana.
Yeah.
You know, so you know that's burning bright in his gut also and stuff. But it is interesting with Kazmarek and G. Scott Jr. stuff. I'm guaranteeing you the tight ends are going to play a vital role.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about double team blocking or something. They're going to play a role in the passing game on Monday night. You can write that down because this Notre Dame defense basically invites you to check down all the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To run the check downs. And you've got to take what they give you. So that's going to be an interesting aspect of this game is do your tight ends make the plays when they have the chance?
Yeah, Notre Dame's got a good pair of tight ends as well.
Yes.
That's Tim May, the 41-year vet. I'm Spencer Holbrook. We are done in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center for the 2024-2025 college football season.
Crazy.
No more availabilities here. The next time we talk to the Ohio State Buckeyes, it will be in Atlanta for the national championship game on Friday. The entire season has built up to this. And right now you can go to LettermenRow.com, get the full week of coverage leading into the national championship game for just $1. That's right, 7 days, $1 at LettermenRow.com. For now, you can like the video below, subscribe to the YouTube channel, then go over to LettermenRow.com, get your membership, enjoy 7 days basically on us. It's just $1. That's Tim, Mick's behind the camera. He'll be behind the camera in Atlanta as well. He's coming down to the national title game as well. Full coverage of the national championship game between Ohio State and Notre Dame going to LettermenRow.com. Again, subscribe to this YouTube channel and then come over, hang out with us at LettermenRow.com. We'll see you guys over there, and we'll see you in Atlanta on Friday for Ohio State and Notre Dame. The full coverage begins on Friday.